Hello, Ethos GSFM friends and family. We are here today bringing you some more valuable and rich information in terms of COVID-19 and the pandemic that we are experiencing right now. Today, we are bringing to you a healthcare professional, a good friend of mine, and one of Ethos's own, Dr. Raj Singla, who is a medical doctor specializing in oncology and hematology at Jefferson University. And he is here with us right now. Raj, are you there?
Hey, Sean, I'm here. How you doing?
Good, man, dude. You look good, man.
Thanks. Well, I mean, the mark of a good cut is how it grows out. So I'd say I'll keep you for now.
Yeah, yeah, it looks good, man. It looks good. So we just wanted to chat with you today, man, just to talk about a few things in terms of COVID-19 from one of the experts, one of the people who are on the front lines. And, first and foremost, thank you for being on the front lines, for, just making sure that people are staying healthy, people are getting tested, and people are living their lives as healthy as they can live it during such a uncertain time in regards to health. So we appreciate you and we thank you for everything that you do. I just got a few questions for you, man, just to get right into it. The first question that I have for you is what are some safety precautions? I mean, what are some best practices in terms of COVID-19 to prevent the spread?
Excellent question. I think it's the one that's on most people's minds. What can I do to avoid getting this, to avoid spreading it? The simple answer is, people are probably tired of hearing, but hand washing is the most important. This is a desert island. You can bring one thing with you. I mean, washing your hands is the best possible way of decreasing transmission individual to individual. The interesting thing about this virus, this is sort of a covered virus. It has what's called a viral envelope that's made of primarily fats along with some proteins, what are called lipids. If you have this fatty layer and, fats and water and, oil obviously not mixing, using soap and water actually kind of dissolves the envelope or the surface of the virus. And basically kills it. Alcohol-based hand sanitizer is a good option. It's obviously more convenient. You can have little bottles you can walk around with. You want to aim for about 70% alcohol or higher in terms of ethyl alcohol to really kill. You want to use plenty of it and really make sure you're coating the surfaces of the hands properly. In terms of the hand washing technique, you want to get the webbing in between the fingers. You want to get the back surfaces of the hands and really thoroughly clean in about 20 seconds. Happy birthday twice, as people have been saying. So a lot of that's old hat. The other thing is in terms of distancing from one another. This virus can spread not just in terms of like touching, different surfaces, but also from the air. And that can happen through droplets, which you think of kind of like raindrops. But also this is a type of a virus that can aerosolize, meaning that this can hang in the air and sort of float around for a period of time. Afterwards, it doesn't just drop just like a droplet would. The other thing beyond that is, for as far as aerosols, that's really where masks kind of come into to play in terms of droplets versus aerosols. Just really quickly, a face mask and a respirator are different. So the surgical masks and the cloth masks and things that people are, being advised to use, they can work decently well for droplets. The thing is, that's a loose covering over the mouth, and nose. As far as a surgical mask, I see people putting them on like this. Your air's still going up your nose, buddy. I'm sorry. So you gotta make sure it's covering your nose and your mouth if you're gonna wear one. Otherwise, it's kind of like, it's kind of pointless. Those cloth ones and ones with coffee filters and things are useful in the way a surgical mask is. If I'm taking out your appendix, Sean, I'm wearing a surgical mask because I don't want to be spitting, like you talk to someone too close and little flecks are getting on you. I don't want to be spitting germs and spraying droplets into your wound, or into your abdomen. So it's more for me, like to keep you safe from me. That's what a surgical mask does.
A lot of things and information that people are not privy to, and that's the information that a lot of people need. The information that's coming directly from the experts. What are some of the outlandish things that you've probably heard or came across, and what are some of the facts that actually speak to those things?
Yeah, Sean, excellent question. I mean, As far as myths, I mean, I've heard fewer kind of outlandish ones. There's some about sort of where it came from. Did it come from a government lab? Or, is this being intentionally done as bioterrorism or warfare? There's a lot of things that people can speculate on. In terms of myths that I think are more relevant, in terms of, because it's here, we're dealing with it right now. People are dying. Let's use some facts and myths to sort of contrast each other. So fact, over 700,000 people in the United States are infected with this as of, some of the most recent figures today, this morning. About a third of those cases are in the city of New York and the state of New York and surrounding counties. That's with us using all these social distancing practices, all the things that we've done kind of going on lockdown. If we hadn't done this, a couple of facts about the virus are important. We talked about the size of, the filtration of the different masks and the size. The virus is 120 nanometers. That is incredibly small. It's difficult to even put in perspective. You really need a very powerful electron microscope to be able to see this properly. As far as a fact, so coronavirus, corona means crown. So if you've drank a nice Mexican cerveza, a Corona, Corona means crown. I mean, that's what it has in terms of the top of that.
Which is another myth.
Right, and when you see or a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse, and they taught you that circle, that rim around it, that's called the corona. So that just means crown or kind of ring. This is there are viruses and there's viruses. There's a Ford Escort, and then there's, you have a Ferrari. And with viruses, it's the same thing. And these coronaviruses are lumped under the common cold as not one disease. The common cold is rhinovirus, enterovirus, adenovirus, certain types of coronaviruses. This is a new type of virus, Sean, that we haven't been exposed to ever.
It brings me to the next question, though. Not to cut you off, but how is this strain of virus, in just COVID-19 specifically, how is this in fact different from SARS or H1N1 or so on and so forth? How is this different from the rest of those viruses and outbreaks?
SARS was a coronavirus. That was a type of a coronavirus when that was spreading. H1N1 outbreak in 2008, 2009. We had H5N1. So we've had different ones, and there's different naming schema. Not to get too in the weeds, but this is technically called SARS-CoV-2. That's the technical name for this virus, okay, this strain of coronavirus. COVID-19 is basically like coronavirus, and 19 being the year, okay, that this was discovered. And that's really, COVID-19 is referring to, not all the weight that we're going to gain because we're all locked up, inside and just, stuffing our faces and eating our feelings. But COVID-19 refers to basically the disease that's caused by that virus, similar to HIV being the virus, AIDS being the illness that's caused by it.
Got it.
So myth, people say, oh, this is no more deadly than the average flu. Let's explore that a little bit. The flu, again, mutates. These viruses mutate, they're not the same, and that's why you need a different kind of vaccine or a different shot every year. The flu, since 2010, we can look just over the past decade, CDC estimates that in the US, somewhere between 12,000 to 60,000 people die annually, depending on how bad that particular strain is each year. So certain ones are deadlier than others, we know this. Now if you look at the flu in terms of infectivity and how easy it is to spread things, Ebola, which is incredibly infectious. The flu would be around a 1 point, something or whatever, 1.2, 1.3 in terms of infectivity. This is looks like it's about twice as infectious. Okay, this would be roughly twice as infectious as your average flu. Number two, this is several times more deadly. On average, the flu, about 0.0 or 0.1% of people maybe, will die of flu. Because we have Tamiflu, oseltamivir, and other sort of antiviral medications that are very effective testing, rapid flu tests and things that can be back in, just minutes, vaccines that are effective and widespread that people are using. It hits close to home. I mean, a dear friend of mine from college and medical school that I've known for, over 15 years, he lost his mother the same day
of
COVID, the same day that his daughter was born. And his father remains in the hospital in the ICU fighting for his life right now. and he's a physician, his father's a physician. You know, this affects everybody. Nobody's kind of safe from this. So I had a lot of friends and a lot of people I really care about who, you know, initially said, "Oh, what's the big deal? This isn't that bad. It's no different than the flu." A lot of the, you know, different things that are, you know, going around, but the death toll is pretty staggering. And when you have 2,000-3,000 people a day dying from this, it's something to take seriously, because we don't have any immunity from this. This is something brand new we haven't seen before. We don't yet have a vaccine. I'm so proud of my colleagues who sequenced, you know, the genome of this virus within 10 days, had it, you know, vaccines and things like that, basically kind of took off one part of it, you know, removed this attachment and added this other one in terms of the viral proteins to make new vaccines. But the testing is so rigorous. You know, vaccines are very safe and very effective because we test them. So unfortunately, it's going to be a while until these get out and really we can protect everybody or most people. Until that, unfortunately, a lot of this social distancing and things that we're doing is going to have to remain in place.